tell you guys, it's not freezing, but it's certainly not warm. What's the day today? Thursday? Yeah, it's Thursday. Gotta go to work. I've got to pump my tyre up, but I'm going to get to the garage, get me to the garage, and then I can have a cup of coffee there as well. See you in a minute. Okay, we have entered the building. So if you did watch yesterday's video, you've actually got an exactly same repeat of what we did yesterday. So what's going on is we've got a huge, great big crack going right through the centre of the ceiling. And these boards in here, they're the same as the ones that we did yesterday, are very strange shape. I can see there's another joint here. They're like the plasterboards are like a metre wide, and I don't know how long they are, so it's quite a bizarre dimension. I think the plasterboard companies were messing around with the shapes of them for a period of time around when this house was built. So as we can see, then we're going over this quite a light stipple. Yeah. We got some coving, so we need to be careful not to lose too much of this top profile, so we need to be really neat, and a couple of little extra things. We're just going to pre-fill these, and then we got this bay window, which is got a big crack on it. That'll be from concrete lintel, and the bay windows dropped a little bit. So yeah, and we're going to have to get a stop bead across here to make a nice edge of this. So yeah. What we're going to do is we are going to drill some holes with a hole cutter, like make a circle in there, keep the little biscuits that come out, and then we're going to get some tiny bits of timber, and we're going to put some little stitches in to stop these boards from bouncing independently of each other. Okay, so with this hole cutting tool, it's for cutting down lights out, I've cut a circle up there. Just went anywhere for now, and I'm right next to a joist. Now, from doing the ceiling upstairs, I know, because we had exactly the same problem, the joists are 600, so I'm going to assume there's 600 down here as well. So now I've found a joist, I've marked out kind of approximately where they are. Okay, all the way along. See, here I'd gone a little bit too far, but there was a joint there, so I'm thinking, well, the joist must be there. I don't think they've gotten perfectly 600, they're like 57 centimetres or something like that. But approximately. So what we're going to do is put a circle inside every joist, and then we're going to get a little bit of timber that's going to go up, sit across here. We're going to screw up into the plasterboard, which is going to brace the two pieces of plasterboard. It's going to put extra fixing in there, and then we're going to keep these little biscuits that are coming out, and then we're going to screw them back into the little bit of timber that's going to be spanning across there, and then screw it up with plasterer's fibre tape, and then plaster it. So to assume that the joists here are at 600 centres, exactly the same as the ceiling upstairs, looks like I was incorrect to assume that, as they are down here 400, as I have just discovered by drilling my second hole and hitting a joist where there should not be one if they're to be 600s. So yeah, I've taken a measurement from there to there, it's 400. So we can scrap all that, those marks are in completely the wrong places. So now, all across the ceiling, we have some scribblings which look like they have been done by a madman or is some sort of alien language. But it's quite simple to decode. A circle is the new mark, so because I did a line for the 600, so now I've just changed the shape and drawn a circle to show me where the 400 marks are. And it actually works out a lot better, because I did think I was a bit inaccurate, because now a circle has actually worked out to be on this crack here, where I would have assumed there would be a joist, but it didn't work out before, see? Yeah, I overshot it, but now it fits. So that makes sense now. So there we go. I've got all the holes cut. I did confuse myself then, because it's a circle. the first one I started to do was right on the circle. I don't know, it just seemed like round peg, round hole, and I put it on the actual joist, which is there, rather than in between. So I confused myself, but it didn't take me long to work it out, thank goodness. Come on in, I'll show you how it works. Last one here. With my impact driver and these, they look like 32mm drywall screws, before I'm putting the timbers in and I can get my fingers up and still feel, I'm finding where the original joists are and I'm putting a couple of screws either side of the crack. That's the joist I hit, trying to cut a hole. See, and there's another one here as well, so yeah, just to sturdy it up. So now's the time to get the little bits of wood in these holes and put those little biscuits over there back in. 1, 2, 3, 4, not counting that one because it's on the timber. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. See the mark is just a little bit bigger than the biscuit, so we can get a screw in either side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and a bit left over. It's well handy if you can just get your fingers down and pull down on this, just so the first screw can get a purchase. Once the first one's in, that should be good enough. And on like a so, lift it up, just lifting it up a little bit. That pulls it down. All the timbers are in position. Okay, so now we're putting our biscuits back in. Initially, I put one straight through the middle because remember this is a crack, so this is 2 pieces of plasterboard, so it can quite easily snap in half again. So I put one up through the middle, then I nip one down the crack this side and one down the crack this side, because this is purely cosmetic. It's these two here that are doing the binding. This is just filling the hole. So these 2 pieces quite easily come apart. So one goes through the middle, then pinned either side, and the crack following the line of the crack. So today we are taking it easy, not with extra time, but with easy scrim. It's a nice fetching yellow. You put an orange one. Oh, nice. You put an orange one over, and then the easy scrim over the top. Mm-hmm. Look at that. Okay, so there's going to be a bit of depth going over this textured finish, this stipple, so we are going to back up the scrim with some staples, as Shay is going to demonstrate imminently. Just need a few every now and again, bang, 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 just in case the weight of the wet plaster pulls them down. So, ceilings like this, quite often, there's a bit of undulation with them. But this derby's here, you can see that's not too bad, yeah? Remember the joist going this way. Let's have a look, and go, whoa man, what's going on there? That's not so bad there. This seems to be the worst part, which is here. There's a massive great big hump in it here. Is it coming out? Can you see it? Yeah. If I put my fingers behind each side. Yeah. Look at that. Now there's certain things you can sort out with plaster and skimming. There's certain things you can't. I mean, we can try and ease that round a little bit and disguise it, but I've put a screw up there. That is a low joist. I thought maybe the plasterboard might be hanging down away from the joist, but it's not. It's up tight. You can see here. Put a screw in, one low joist, really kicking around. Okay, I guess what we'll do before we knock up, we might see if we can get a strip coming either side of it. Now we know it's here, try and ease it round, and then once that's on and starting to pick up, then we'll put our first coat over that as well. So don't really want to put too much weight on it either. And we're going to come in this direction because that's the shape of the room. We can't really come the other direction. Just turning our attention to this bay window. I had a nasty crack going through here. I'm not sure exactly why, but we scrimmed it up. I need to get some staples in there. But let's have a look at this. See, on this sort of bit of beading, quarter beading, whatever they call it, there's some sort of residue. It feels like mastic or something, where they stuck it up, the glue. I'm going to tape this up with some tape to protect this and tape it up really nicely so we've got a nice straight edge there. And have it down a little bit away so that the plaster doesn't come over the top of the tape, because it's a curve and it's a little bit tricky to keep this sort of clean. You'll be running your wet brush across there, and every time you do, this kind of, it's very rubbery, will start to soak up the colour of the plaster, and it will look like it's your plaster mix all the way down it when it's not. You've just actually stained this glue that's on it. Right, let's do that. So we've got a tape around top, we've got our scrim tapes on, and we got our stop bead on, and I have used that stapler. We're stapling quite a few because we want it to be quite nice and snug up there. Take out any bounce being upside down, but yeah, the staples have held that quite nicely. Polyvinyl acetate, PVA adhesive over the painted surface to actually physically glue the fresh plaster to the painted surface. As I quite often say, when you do put some PVA up, it's quite a good idea just to notice how quick that's pulling in. So Shay's not even got across the whole ceiling yet, and yet
being quite slow though.
I know, but still, this is starting to tack up already. So it's got quite a bit of suction and it's pulling it in. So it gives us an indication of quite how fast this ceiling might go, because they're never ever quite the same when you're going over an Artex and a paint, etc. You never quite know. Sometimes if it's silk paint, it hangs forever. Sometimes the emulsion, which this has been emulsioned, allows some moisture to get drawn up into that original Artex coat. One, two, three, four, 5 by 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5 meters by 4 meters. Easily a couple of bags to be knocked up on this one in this 50 litre tub. This Rafina one, it wasn't too expensive. Yeah, it was alright. 50 litre. Okay, so normally we just knock up couple of bags in there. You'll get 2 bags in 50 litres, and then we'll start cracking on, see how far it gets us. But what we're going to do, because we saw the big lump, I guess that when that scrim you can kind of see the shape it's taking and where that lump is. We're going to knock up a bit. I've just put about 5 litres, a regular builder's bucket in there, and I'm going to knock up a little bit to start off with, and I'm going to knock that up particularly stiff, and I'm going to be coming with the 20 by 5 carbon steel trowel, which I'm always using every day. I love it to pieces. I'm not going to go into one today. That's my old one, desperately needs clean. So what I'm going to do is where that lump is, or where the 2 dips are, because it's dipping here and it's dipping here. So I'm going to use my trowel and I'm going to come in this direction across here and put a band in either side, just to take that bite out of it and make it a little bit easier to try and roll it and disguise it. You know, there's only so much you can do there. So yeah, and like I say, we're going to knock it up pretty thick in the first place, so that when we knock up again for the entirety of the ceiling, it will knock it up at the regular sort of thickness, and it should just ride over the thick stuff and not disturb it, you know, because if it's really wet and it's really deep, then you've got a chance of making even more ripples, and it's not going to hold itself very well. And there we go, just brings up like nice and podgy. So I've got to say, this is when a trowel as big as this does really help out quite a lot. So I can see where there's trowel marks appearing. You can see here that that's the high point, but it changes. It changes to here. This is the deep point here now. It's weird. So it's quite a big band on there. You can see, look, where it's really tight, where the hump is. Let's get my trowel, hold on a second, it's still dirty. I'll clean this off a little bit. So you can see, look, we've hardly got anything here. When we come to here, we're in at quite a depth, look. Same as here, very deep, another high point. So yeah, like I say, I've come at it this way in an attempt just to kind of like curl it round a bit, just take the bite out of it, take your eye off of it, and hopefully when it's flat, that just won't stick out as much as it would do if we had done nothing like that at all. Okay, next thing is to knock up for the entire ceiling, so we're going to go over that again. I think, because it is quite thick in places, let's give that a little bit of time just to pick up a little bit before we do that, just so it's just a little bit more advanced than the actual whole body of plaster we're going to put over it, just because it is quite a bit away. I just wanted to pull up together. I did knock up a little bit more, over-guessed it, because it's very hard to judge when you've got depth like that on it, how far it's going to go. So I was able to get quite a big band on, and also I was able to get across this nasty scrim here, because this was kind of pimpling down like this V sort of shape, so I've just eased that round a little bit as well. So yeah, I mean, just give it 5-10 minutes and then we'll knock up for the whole thing. 2 bags, here we go. Got the new DeWalt Mega Mixer. Exactly 2 bags, quite podgy, but not as podgy as before. You don't have to load up the whole of the trowel. This is what stops you from dropping. So I'm loading up that middle bit here, okay? So the back of the trowel isn't doing anything. And it's only now, when I come back a little bit there, now I'm using the whole length of the trowel to flatten out that bit. Like that. So the extra length of the trowel stops it from splurging over. If this trowel was so short it was there, you know, it finished there, then it goes over the edge. And then we've got a bit of a manageable bit. Now look, I can come back to the line of that plaster and use it like a rule. Flatten out as you go along. Okay, it is all on. I haven't flattened this in yet, I've literally just put it on. And I thought it'd be a good thing to show you, because you can see if it comes out on the video quite nicely. You can see the sort of trowel shapes. So obviously we've come at it systematically this way, as you saw coming out from the coving. Then the next one is sweeping round that little band and then coming back and sweeping round like so. You see the sweeps come, so that's one full sweep, that's one full arm length from there, so from there and it's round to there, so you get quite a bit of reach. Then we come to this side, look, you can see come out this way, and then at this end you can see where it's lightening up. I've done quite a big stretch to get back out onto here. So it's not looking too bad considering that it's only just been put on and not flattened in at all. So what I'm going to do right this minute is turn straight back round and flatten this all in. Incidentally, got a good sized hawkful left from 2 bags, and we've also got this one as well. So yeah, it's all good. Might save that, I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I might save that.
On the walls.
I haven't put those tiny little bits on the walls though, if you want to do them. So I might save that and knock it back into the laying down coat to actually speed it up. We'll find out in a minute when I get up there and actually start flattening it in, and I can feel how quickly it's going. So that plaster is all done because I used it to flatten in, help me flatten in this ceiling again, because I thought it's holding back a little bit. So by the time I want to knock it back, it would have gone off quite a little bit. So I just used it just to help me flatten in. And these are the results we are getting at the moment. At the moment it's still exceptionally wet, look, see? And the other thing you might notice, if the light can catch it, if I can find a bit. There we go, look, we've got all these air bubbles and stuff. It's the pattern underneath bleeding through. There is no point in touching that at all. We've got to let that pick up a little bit further than you normally would, because we need that to stop coming through, bleeding through. And if I put wet plaster on top of that wet plaster, whilst that's wet, it's only adding more weight to the wet plaster and you'll get the bleed through again. So we do need this to pick up a little bit more so that that stops happening, or is much more reduced when you do put the top coat on. So nothing we can do for a minute. Have a cup of tea, as they say. Another thing you might be tempted to do at this point is, I've tried to be as neat as I can, look, but there is still a little bit of bleed over on the coving. Now you might be tempted to get a brush and run it in, but this is still far too fragile to upset, so we're better off just leaving this for the moment until we get further down the process and the actual ceiling's a lot tougher and can take a little bit more of a rougher action. I mean, you can, if you want, get your thumb like that and get it off, but do you know what, don't worry about it for now. You might find it's got a lot of staining, especially if previously there'd been Artex, because what happens is when the guy finishes with his Artex, he gets a little inch brush and he brushes it all the way around the coving, which is exactly what happened here. And of course, that spreads a little bit of Artex all across this little face, so you've got little divots and stuff. And after a little bit of time, the moisture from the plaster is going to get into that Artex and bring it back to life again. So you're probably better off not getting a scraper at the end and scraping this off, because you're going to be digging back into that Artex and breaking through the paint and maybe causing more damage than good. So we're just going to leave this for now, and then when it picks up a little bit, then we are going to turn our attention to that. I don't know if it comes out on the camera, but this line here, see if I can zoom in a little bit, that straight line is what we want all the way down the coving. We do not want to upset this line right here. Okay, so we're giving it 10 minutes or so and it's pulling in quite nicely. Yeah, it's probably quite ideal to put the second coat on, which coincidentally will be, it took 2 bags to get it on, but remember we went on really thick. So generally what happens is, whatever the amount is you put on, let's say 2 bags, then 1 bag will lay it all down. But remember, we went on quite thick, so the actual surface area isn't as big, so it's going to be under a bag to lay this all down. That weren't a bad guess, was it? It was about 3/4 of a bag to lay this all down. And we did use the dirty water from the previous gauge. So even though it's gone on rather agreeably, I've not flattened this in yet. I've only just laid it on the second coat. But considering it's got quite a large ceiling, I better turn around and start flattening it in sooner rather than later. I've got to admit, it's feeling quite nice. You know, sometimes you can tell if the ceiling's going to be nice or not, and I think it is. Let's hope the thing stays up when I disappear and go home. Complete. It's all troweled up. I did switch for the last trowel up to, which I quite often do, after I've been across it with the 20x5 carbon steel trowel. I do switch just for one last pass with the stainless steel flexible trowel. So, because we got, I don't know if it's going to come out on camera, but I can just see here in the light, that's kind of like the brow of the hill there where that big hump was. Let's get down there and have a look at it, shall we? 6, let's have a good look. Excuse me, hold on a second. Get ourselves in position. So, hopefully what we've done by treating it in the fashion that we did, we've eased that round, because it was quite a stark, you know, humpback bridge going on. It kind of, it curled up and then it came down and curled back up again. So we've still got the curve there, but we haven't got these deficits for its disappearing. So hopefully it's going to be gradual and much less noticeable than what it was before. Somebody's watching me, Right, what's the time?
It is about 3:15.
3:15. Right, we've got the task of tidying up and getting out of here. Just trying to find an angle where the light's catching it. See if it shows up. Well, I think we've done a pretty good job of getting that bend out, you know, Shane. I mean, it's still there, but, you know, just hiding it. Yeah.
Wood is pretty.
Keep our profile nice and tidy. Zoom in on it. Light. Hi guys, thanks for watching that video. It is virtually exactly the same to the video that I recorded that day, but I didn't publish this one this next day. There's been a couple of days in between. Excuse me. But yeah, we did a ceiling upstairs, had exactly the same problem, and we did the ceiling downstairs. So that is what happened, and that is how we repaired it, by drilling those holes in there, as you saw. So there's two videos which are virtually exactly the same that have gone up fairly recently. So thanks again for watching. That was a fairly long one. Looks like it's 29 minutes and 5 seconds. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it, and you can't wait, because there's going to be another exciting episode of plastering that you just don't want to miss. So click on that and subscribe. Alternatively, do come over to the Facebook group, which is entitled Plaster Master Smurf 74, exactly the same as the channel. Over there you can have a chat to me and other plasterers that are just dying to give you all their worldly knowledge and help you out with any inquiries that you may have. Alright guys, thanks very much, take it easy, we'll see you in the next video.